The first thing I'd like to do is, and do Namaskar to Guru Maharaj Ji. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh to all the Sangat. But my name is Arjun Singh. I'm not affiliated with any organization or anything, Handy. But I just came here to just share small snippets of Gyan that I have, attained from, reading Pustaks, Granths, and reading TK of Gurbani, and also talking to Gyani Jan, Hanji, Gyanis who have Gyan of Guru Maharaj and Gyan of Gurbani and Gyan of Gurmat. So the name of the talk is Sikh Philosophy, Man, God, and Universe. So I've chosen this name because there's three questions which will come to us, inevitably. And this is, who am I, who is God, and what is this whole universe that we are experiencing? What is this whole multiplicity? What is this whole world that we are seeing? I'd like to start off with who am I? But when we talk about who am I, another question comes in, because who am I? There's the body and everything, but then there's another question which comes into who am I? Because and that is, what is the purpose of life? Because what am I, or who am I? It comes back down to the same core, which is what is my purpose? What is the purpose of life? When we talk about the purpose of life, it comes down to Gurbani tells us in many places that the goal of life is to attain mukti, attain oneness with Sri Akal Purakh Ji. Like we have Govind Milan Ki Hai Teri Baliya, we have that shabad as well. We read that all the time. It's very prominent. But man tu jot swaroop hai apna mool pachan. That our goal is to attain oneness with Sri Akal Purakh Ji. Our goal is mukti. Our goal is to attain oneness with Sri Akal Purakh Ji. Our goal is to realize Sri Akal Purakh Ji, to attain Atma Gyan. And Sikh teaches us, how to attain this Atma Gyan. But first of all, coming back to the same question, what is man? We usually talk about man as being the human body. If you look at Abrahamic faith, they will obviously, see the man as the human body. And I'm just going to go a little bit into the human body, only a little bit, because I do want to answer this question spiritually and not scientifically. The human body, in Indian philosophy, we see that it's made up of Panch Tat, and Gurbani also tells us that the Sarir, this Panch Mahabhut, this 5 Tat, Panch Tattan da Sarir Banaya. Our body is made up of 5 elements, which themselves are individually split up into 5 elements each, so you have, so the 5 elements themselves, each of them individually are split up into 5 elements each. So you have the 2 other bodies, Suksham, Karan, Sarir, and this kind of stuff. But again, that is not trying to answer the core, of this question, which is, what is the purpose of life? Because when we say what is man, the most important thing is, what is the purpose of life? What is man's purpose? So we've gotten here that our body, the Panch Tat, the 5 elements. But then what is the purpose of life? I've said again before, it's mukti, Hanji. But then it comes up to, how do we attain mukti? I'll go into that as well. Mukti is where we become free from bandhan, we attain liberation. Hanji. And then Gurbani itself tells us in many places that our true, maqsad is mukti. And then, Gurbani tells us, Atam Cheen Param Sukh Paya. Hanji. When we attain mukti or Atam Cheen, then what happens is Param Sukh Paya, we attain supreme bliss. So again, coming back to what is man? Man by nature, when a person is born, we always want something. We always want something, and that is sukh, and that is pleasure, and that is bliss. But the thing is, bliss is that with bliss, with worldly bliss, because worldly bliss is chanik, that's why it's chanik means ik chan li rendaya. Chan means one moment, one pal, ik pal li rendaya. Na? For example, we pronounce one akkar. For example, kaka, so we can say ka, for that small amount of time, that sukh is within us. We feel that sukh, and then it goes away. Then the same with dukh, Then what happens is that this mukti is param sukh paya, is the attainment of param sukh, supreme bliss. Andy? And then again, it comes up to how do we attain this supreme bliss? But coming back to, the param sukh idea, we have to understand, again, what is mukti again? So, mukti, for example, we always talk about sachkhand and all this kind of stuff. We always think that it's afterlife, but sachkhand is something which we attain while we are living. People call it by many names, but it is something which is attained while living. I do want to come on to how mukti is attained. So, when we talk about mukti, mukti is something which is attained via the Guru's grace, Hanji. And we have many pramans for this. We have many mentions for this in Gurbani as well. That this is attained only via the Guru's grace. Firstly, I would like to use. I'll give one Hanji praman, one mention from Gurbani, which is Gur Prasad Mitaya Andhyara Kat Chanan Aap Pachaniya. Hanji. So Gur Prasad, meaning from the Guru's kirpa, from the kirpa meaning grace, from the mercy of the Guru, what happens is mitya andhyara. This andhyara of agyan comes. What is this andhyara? What is this darkness? What is this veil of darkness? And this darkness is called agyan, ignorance, which stops us from attaining, oneness with Silyakal Parakji. And then what does the Guru kat chanana aap pachaniya? Then you kind of chanana, the Guru himself, he gives us tat gyan, he makes our man shuddh, Hanji. He brings prem within us, Hanji. And with his kirpa we attain Akal Purakh. It's, for example, the first line of Sukhmani Sahib itself is enough. Ik Oankar Satgur Prasad, Hanji. And then, but one thing I do want to say is, so Agianta again, coming back to the Agyan, Hanji, the Andhera, we come back to the human body as well, and then it comes back to the world. When we talk about the world, the world is seen as mithya. Mithya meaning that which doesn't exist, which is illusionary. Not it doesn't exist, but that which is illusionary, Hanji. That is what we call Hanji mithya. And then, we ourselves, what is Agianta, after this Agianta it goes, Hanji, because we see mithya tan sacho kare maneo, Hanji. We are in the state where we, Hanji, apane sarir nu see sacha mande hain, Hanji. We see our body to be true, Hanji. We see everything around us to be true, to be. We kind of see this world as existing forever, Hanji. So again, this comes back to what is the universe, Hanji. So the universe again, it's mithya. Gurbani tells us, Drishtaman hai sagal mithena. Whatever we are seeing with our drishti, with our vision, is all illusionary. It's all mithya. Whatever we are seeing. So the idea is that, whatever we are seeing is mithya. And then our goal is to attain mukti. Again, coming back to Agyan, Hanji. So, but by, seeing ourselves as the body, Hanji, what happens is, after, identifying as the body, we see our true self to be the body. We, again, put ourselves in bondage. But then, I like to use logical reasoning, to talk about how we are not the body. For example, if we get hurt, we always say, that why did you hit my body? Why did you hit my head? Why did you hit this? My. I'd like to put emphasis on that my, Handy. What is this my? This is this shows that there's something underlying that. There's something behind that. And that is our goal, that we, have to try and attain, Handy. That's our goal. So this comes back to the idea of God, Handy. So I've talked about mukti. Mukti is attaining oneness with God, Handy. Then what is God? Then God and the world and man are interlinked, Handy. Again, but let's talk about God and man, Handy. So, God and the universe, because the universe we usually so again, sorry, maaf karna, oh my God. So yeah, so God and the universe. The universe is mithya. I've said it before. It's illusionary. But then God is advait. Hanji. God is something which is underlying this whole world that we see. Hanji. This world is mithya, illusionary, and due to agyan, due to our ignorance, we see this world, and this world is, in one sense, like a dream. It isn't true. It's this is why in Gurbani we see many times, that Gurbani tells us that this whole world that we are seeing is like a dream. It doesn't have an independent existence. It isn't real. You know, it's just like it's false. It's not true. And then what is our goal again? Coming back to man. It's mukti. And mukti. When I say param sukh, I think I've explained param sukh as well. Param sukh is the attainment of the supreme bliss. The supreme bliss is unending. It's forever. Anji, while you're alive and while you're dead as well. You feel this, Handy. So I've mentioned that, and then the next thing I would like to mention is that you know, then you even have the suksham and karan sarid. But the thing is that this doesn't really answer the question, the spiritual question. What is what is man? When I say what is man, it's what is the purpose of man. And when it comes back to mukti, because then the purpose of man is mukti. What is mukti then? I've said it's Paramanand. But how do you attain the mukti? I've said about Guru's Kripa. But the thing is, what are the things that you do to attain mukti? Because that also matters as well. What are the things that we do to attain mukti? So I'd say that Sikhi shows us a path towards mukti, liberation. Andy. But then in this path, you have things, for example, removing our home, Andy. This idea of I-ness, this ego of ours. We move that as well, and Gurbani tells us many times that we have to remove, Hanji, all this calm krodh within us, Hanji, all these panchor within us. Gurbani tells us this. Gurbani tells us काम क्रोध लोभ मोह अभिमान ना ताम है सुख नहीं पाइया. Again, coming back to the idea of Paramanand, coming back to the idea of supreme bliss, and the idea that all this sukh and dukh that we experience within worldly life, for example, worldly sukh is not true sukh. Worldly sukh is it's illusionary. It is not permanent. It is not true. So this is why it is illusionary, and this is why it's not true sukh. And again, Atma Cheen Param Sukh Paya, Hanji, that by attaining the knowledge of Atma, attain knowledge of Akal Purakh, attain Param Sukh, we attain the supreme bliss. And this worldly Sukh, all false, Hanji. All this Sukh that we attain from Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Hanji, all this Abhiman, this ego of ours, that is not true Sukh. It's Sukh that comes and goes. But Guru Maharaj offers us a Sukh which is way above that, which is way greater than that. And when I say, Andy, man and God, what is man and what is God? They're both interlinked, because in reality, the thing is that the whole idea is to search for one's true self, to search for that thing which is everything. The whole world, even though we see it as illusionary, is a manifestation of a Akal Purakh, is a manifestation of a Akal Purakh. Andy, it's illusionary, and it doesn't exist from the ultimate perspective. It doesn't exist in the Sikhi world. And Mukti is the realization of our true self. And now I'm going to talk about another thing, which is the Homme, the idea of ego. When I say ego, it can even be the subtlest form of ego, which is I-ness, or the sense of I. And this is why Guru Maharaj proposed a method for us, which is tu hi. Whatever we do, we try to see Akal Purakh within it. Whatever we do, we try to. Our goal itself should be to see Akal Purakh everywhere. That should be our goal. And by doing this, we lose ourselves. We lose our attachment to our bodies as well. Forget ourselves. And that's why Gurbani says, Kabirji says, Jab hum hote tab tum nahi, tab tum ho hum nahi. that when there is this I-ness, then there is not a Kalparak. Then we cannot see a Kalparak. Then we cannot experience a Kalparak. Handy. But when this I-ness is gone, Handy, then, we can see a Kalparak. We can see a Kalparak everywhere. We feel a Kalparak everywhere. We forget ourselves. It's like a lover being so intoxicated in his love, in his in his lover that he starts seeing his lover everywhere. You know? So that's the sense that Gurmukh attains after attaining Mukti. And again, I've talked about how Mukti is the supreme goal. But again, I'm going to talk about God and man because Mukti cannot make sense until we have an idea of what is God. So this leads us to the question, what is God? So God, I've said before, is the underlying reality, Handi, of everything. Handi, it is Sat, Handi, and it is that truth which is, underlying this whole Mithya world, this whole illusionary world, you know. So God again, God is, for example, okay, so there's a principle called there's Jeev and there's Ishwar, and there's Jeev and God, there's man and Vaheguru. Then the whole goal is to attain oneness. When I say oneness, it's this sense of oneness. It's this sense of knowing that I was one. It's like a wave merging into the ocean. But what the mistake that we are doing is trying to see a Kalpurukti outside of us. We're not focusing our mind inside. We're not focusing our mind inside. And God, and again, Akal Purakh Akal Purakh Advait, they're non-dual. There's nothing other than them. So the idea you could say is, removing that agyan, removing that ignorance to see Akal Purakh everywhere. This world is again like a dream. It's false. It's not true, and this is all a kid that Akal Purakh is doing using his Maya. Andy, it's that's what we say. Andy, मैं हूँ परम पुरख को दासा देखन आयो jagat tamasa. Andy, all that we are seeing with our eyes is a tamasha of Vaheguru. It's all a play of Vaheguru, the kid of Vaheguru. So Akal Purakh ji does this using his Maya, Shakti. And the beautiful thing about Sikhi is, when it comes back to man, is that, Sikhi talks about how Kalprati themselves, with their Maya, Hanji, Jeev comes up, Hanji, they aap Hanji palaunde ya, aap milaunde ya, they themselves, Hanji, make us forget our true self, Hanji. It's like a wave in the ocean, and it forgets its true self, which is the ocean, and associates itself as a mere wave, Hanji. It turns itself into a mere wave, and it forgets its oneness with the ocean. Again, I've talked about how we have to keep away from Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, and this is part of the Antahkaran. So this is part of the Shuddhi of the Antahkaran. This is part of the purification of the mind, because without a purified mind, one cannot see Akal Purakh Ji. So the idea is that, for example, a mirror. You could take a mirror. You have to clean that mirror to see your true self. You cannot see yourself. You cannot see your true self in a dirty mirror. So in the same sense, what happens is that to see a Kalparakji, you have to clean that mirror, you know. And the Kalparakji is the Antaratma of everyone, And Atma Rama Rama hai Atma, you know. Um, in true nature, Handi, the idea is that Atma means the most truest, shuddhist form of oneself, Handi, is Kalparakji. And the idea is that we are trying to find a Kalparak. We're trying to find our true self. We're searching for our true self, the self of all. You could even, in one sense, say the self of all, the person that's within the heart of everyone, which is the master of all these bodies. That is Akal Purakh. He sits within our heart, Handi. And the idea is that we put our man within us, put our indriya, put our whole, Handi, put our sense organs, everything, to inside, Handi, and try look for Akal Purakh inside rather than looking for it outside, you know. So in one sense, you could even say that when we try to look for sukh, we are in one sense trying to look for a kalparak, some in the right way, some in the wrong way, because by human nature, again, we are made in this way that we try to look for sukh outside. We don't try to thinking about it inside. So again, our goal is to kind of see a kalparak within ourselves, find a kalparak within ourselves, rather than going outside for Sri Akal Purakh Ji. And so I've talked about Mukti and God, being the Antaratma of everyone, being the innermost self of everyone. But Gurbani talks about Akal Purakh being Advait, meaning being non-dual, being nothing other than him. I've talked about that before as well, that there is nothing other than Akal Purakh, only Akal Purakh exists, and he is taking form of everything that we are seeing is his form, Handy. Everything that we are seeing is his form, from the utmost, from the absolute point, you could even say that uh, only Akal Purakh exists, that this world is just a mere manifest, it's like a dream, it doesn't really exist, it doesn't really exist. We can't say much about it, because it's like a dream, and a dream is never true. The same as this world. And then coming back to, I've talked about how this world is a dream, but then the goal is to, kind of wake up from that dream. And how do we wake up from that dream? And again, I've talked about calm, cool, low more, keeping that under control. But then I want to go back to shift my focus back to the man, the antahkaran, inner organ, the mind, we like to say. And there's three dok within this mind, Hanji. There's the dok of Mal, Vikshape, and Avaran. Hanji. There's these three dok. And the thing is that we can only get over this, Hanji. And this is only by doing keeping rehat, by doing keeping maryada. And this removes our maldo. That's why Gurbani tells us janam 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 ki isman kau mal lagi. Hanji. That from all these janams, this mal of pap is within us. And by keeping rehat, by living in the pathway of the Guru, Hanji, looking at old Rehatname, that all these Pratham Guru Sikhs composed, and looking at Gurbani itself, we follow Rehat, we follow the right code of we follow the good conduct, we keep good conduct, and this removes our maldok, all this pap, handi, okay, all this pap, handi, all this mal from all these janam, handi, it stops that, and then you have the next thing is bhakti, nishkam upashana. So when we talk about bhakti as well, bhakti is very central to Sikhi, and Maharaji tells us many times that our goal, we should to attain mukti is attained by doing bhakti, is attained by doing selfless devotion. Bhakti, nishkam upashana. Upashana means worship. Nishkam means without desire. Usually when we do bhakti, when we go to the gurdwara and everything, we go do matha take to Guru Maharaj, say, oh, do this for us, do this for us. But no, and then we do ardas, we do part poot, but we do that for our own reason. We do it for our own kind of desires. We want to fulfill them. We want to fulfill our worldly desires. We don't do it nishkam hoki. We don't do it desireless. So I would say that in one sense, doing bhakti with desire for worldly, materialistic objects is lalach. It isn't prem. I think I saw a definition of prem once online. I think it was by Sant Atar Singh Ji Mastumane Wale, and they said that prem is parema, where there is no I, when the I is far away. Again, it brings us back to what I said before, that how mai, this idea of I-ness. Jab hum hote tab tum nahi, ab tum ho, hum nahi. So it comes back to that. But coming back, doing bhakti, nishkam, upashana, and it's very important. It removes our big shape dog. Because, when we sometimes sit down and we can't focus on a Akal Purakh Ji, we sit down and we say, Vaheguru Ji utte hani, but we can't. If you get asked to sit down and do bhakti for 8 hours, you won't be able to do that. The reason is because your mind is wavering, Hanji, and then this vikshepa dok is removed by, doing bhakti, by doing nishkam upashana, by becoming desireless and attaining even this avastha, the that I don't want. I think there's a shabad as well about this as well. That Raj na chaho, Mukta na chaho, Hanji, man preet charan kamalare, Hanji. That I want just preet with Guru Maharaj's charan, Hanji. This prem for Akal Purakh Ji, for Guru Maharaj Ji. I don't want any Raj. I don't want Mukti even. Raj na chaho, Mukta na chaho, Hanji. So I don't even want Mukti. That's a very great say. of prem, that is, I don't even want mukti. And when we do this nishkam upasana, everything comes towards us. We don't even have to ask for it. And that's very important. Doing bhakti is very important because bhakti is the main factor which leads us towards Akal Purakh. Then I would like to put emphasis on doing vichar of Gurbani, you know, and this is why Gurbani is called Bhakti Gyan Smucha. And it's a blend of both Bhakti and Gyan, meaning that we look at Gurbani, we read Gurbani, we focus on Gurbani, we listen to Gurbani, सुनते हैं Gurbani ਨੂੰ श्रवण करते हैं Gurbani ਦਾ, and after that we reflect upon Gurbani, then we even bring that Gurbani into our lives. We try practicing that Gurbani after reflection. So it's very important that we do this. We reflect upon Gurbani. We bring Gurbani within us, within our lives. And by doing this, our man gets shud. And then, with Guru Kirpa, with the Kirpa of Guru Maharaj, what happens is that Guru Maharaj, okay, so can you, so I've got a question here. Okay, I think okay, so again, let me just finish my line. But, by doing this, afterwards, what happens is Akal Purakh Ji does what? Akal Purakh Ji or Guru Maharaj Ji, what they do is that they give us Tat Gyan. They give us, this realization of Akal Purakh. Instantly, we attain this realization of Akal Purakh, So, Hanji. So, but Hanji, don't worry, I can answer questions, while they're coming as well, Hanji, because I don't want people to leave, because people do get bored. But yeah, so can you explain the line "Jah dekha tahrav rahe Shiv Sakti ka mel"? Acha ji. Okay, ji. Answer this question, ji. I can see wherever I look, I see the Lord parading there in the union of Shiv Shakti, consciousness, and matter. Hanji. So so Shiva Shakti ka male. So Shiva Shakti, it comes back to Shakti being um so this is why Shiv Shakti ka male, Shiv and Shakti. These are these are like, from this the whole universe is, whatever we see is all Shiv Shakti, this whole thing that we are seeing with our eyes. Hanji. But then there's even something above that, which is Akal Purakh Ji. Hanji. And that is our goal. To attain Akal Purakh Ji, to attain oneness with Sri Akal Purakh Ji. There's something above the darbars of Shiv and Shakti. Okay, answer the question, Hanji. Satta ji. Okay, so we have went question box as well here. But yeah, so again, I'm gonna come back to the talk. Sorry, I just wanted to answer that question real quickly because I thought some people do leave. But yeah, again, by doing this, Guru Maharaj Ji, some tat gyan dinde ya. And Guru Maharaj Ji's kirpa retain tat gyan. But I'd like to put emphasis again on the fact that we have to put this method of tuhi. When it comes to bhakti, again, nishkam upasana. I talked about upasana, bhakti. Bhakti is where we contemplate, we do contemplation on Akal Purakh, we contemplate on him, we do vichar, and then also, when it comes to, doing vichar on Gurbani, and that's very important because that, by doing vichar on Gurbani, and what happens is that, slowly we become even more closer to Guru Maharaj, and then our man gets shuddh as well. When I say vichar, I mean implementing it in real life. And when you read Gurbani, don't just take it as some philosophical text. Don't see it in an academic way. See it in a spiritual way. And when you look at Gurbani, try and make the cause of you reading Gurbani be that you implement it in your real life. And so that's the main thing that we need to do. And vichar on Gurbani. And don't take my word. Do your own research. Read Gurbani yourself. There's many TK out there. And try for yourself. Read Gurbani. So Hadi, this is also what Naam Simran is as well, contemplating the words of Guru Sahib. And this qualities. Bhakti itself, is contemplation on the Asal Swarup of Vaheguru. Hadi. So we do Vaheguru. And again, I talked about Naam Simran once as well. Naam Simran is where you remove your focus on the world. Again, this world is mithya. The world is illusionary. What is Naam Simran or Naam Abhyas? That is when we focus our mind towards Sri Akal Purakh Ji. when we focus of mind into that Shuddha Chetan Swaroop Akal Purakh. Chetan meaning Gyan Swaroop, that all-knowing Silli Akal Purakh Ji, you know. So that is what Nam Abhyas is. And we do that by doing Vaheguru, Vaheguru. So one thing I'm going to say is when you do Vaheguru, Vaheguru, focus on Silli Akal Purakh Ji. And don't focus on, I've got a test tomorrow. Don't focus upon that. When you're doing Nam Abhyas, you want to focus on Silli Akal Purakh Ji. At the start, it's hard. Again, I'm going to say it again. I talked about Vikshape, Hanji, how our mind is impure. Our mind is impure. This is why, Hanji. We keep on doing bhakti, and slowly, slowly, we start getting rush out of it. We start getting pleasure out of it. Then I think the Ishar Singh you talked about the three types of Anand. There's Vishay Anand, there's Bhajan Anand, and there's Brahmanand or Paramanand. So Vishay Anand, Vishay means Bikya, Handi is a term used in Gurbani as well, which is worldly pleasure, samsaric sukh. Again, it comes back to what I said before as well about chanik dukh, chanik sukh. But yes, samsari sukh, that is Vishay Anand. It's like it's one boond of Anand, that's one drop of Anand. That's what Sant Ishwar Sindhi compare it to. Then you have Bhajan Anand. Bhajan Anand is doing again Bhakti Vakal Purakh, you know, and that Bhakti gives us pleasure as well. It gives us Anand as well, and this is like a river of Anand. And then you have Brahmanand. What is Brahmanand? Brahmanand is the Anand that we get after attaining Mukti, after attaining oneness with Silli Akal Purakh Ji, after attaining this sense of unity with Silli Akal Purakh Ji. That is called Brahmanand. That is called Paramanand. That I talked before as well. Atmachin Param Sukha Paya. Hanji, by attaining knowledge of the Atma, we attain Param Sukh. We attain the supreme Sukh, the supreme bliss that is attained from that. And again, I've talked about bhakti and everything. But I do want to put emphasis that, we have to question as well, If you get a question, try and look at Gurbani. Make it kind of an excuse to look at Gurbani and try and become person who, because when you ask these questions, even when you get small questions, you ask them, it builds the sense of Jagyasa, the sense to know Silli Akal Purakh Ji, the sense to, this wanting to kind of, know Akal Purakh Ji, attain Brahm Gyan, So that's one thing as well, So we have to do that as well. Keep on asking questions to ourselves and try looking for the answers in Gurbani, because Gurbani itself is Sampurna. Gurbani itself is Sampurna. When I say Sampurna, it means that, you don't have to go to any other book. You don't have to go to any other thing, any source, You just have Gurbani. Gurbani itself is enough, Gurbani is Turki Bani Ai. It is Bani which comes from Silli Akal Purakh Ji themselves. Akal Purakh Ji themselves, it's their own Vaj. It's their own words. Don't see that there's Guru Maharaj, it's a man who is saying it. It's Akal Purakh Ji themselves which are saying it through them. And again, there's no difference between Guru Maharaj Ji and Akal Purakh, because many people have this misconception as well, that there is a difference between Akal Purakh Ji and Guru Maharaj, which is a very big no-no, because Gurbani itself tells us, that Sat Purakh Janjaniya Satguru Tiska now. The person who's attained Satpurakh. When I say attain, I mean know Satpurakh. Who've attained Akal Purakh. Who've known Akal Purakh. Hanji. By doing Bhajan Bandagi. Hanji. What happens is they've attained Akal Purakh. They are Guru Maharaj. Hanji. They are one with Akal Purakh. That is a Guru. What does Guru mean? Guru Sahib. We usually say this, Guru Sahib. But Guru means Guru. Gu means the Andhera. Again, as I talked before, again, I referenced the Shabad as well previously about regarding this. I referenced the Shabad, which was Gurprasad Mitaya Andhyara Kat Chanan Aap Pachhanaya. Hanji. That in a cut, that Mitaya Andhyara. Andhyara means the ignorance, this dark veil. Andhyara itself means, like for example, it means darkness, or like for example at night we see that it's dark, you can't see anything, so in the same sense, that same andhyara which is covering Akal Purakh Ji, which is like a border between us attaining Silya Akal Purakh Ji. It's standing there, and we have to remove that order which is there. This is done by Guru Prasad, by Guru's Kirpa. ਹਾਂਜੀ the Guru himself ਹਾਂਜੀ ਆਪ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਾਉਂਦਾ ਆ ਹਾਂਜੀ Guru Maharaj themselves with their kirpa we attain uh, this uh, the removal of this agyan. Gurbani itself tells us Gyan Anjan Gurdiya Agyan Andher Banas. This Anjan meaning surma, meaning mascara. This mascara of Gyan, of the knowledge of Akal Purakh Ji. That is what Gurdiya Agyan Andher Banas. Agyan Andher. The dark veil, the darkness of Agianta, ignorance, that goes away. It goes away. And then we attain darshan of Akal Purakh. When we say darshan, then when Akal Purakh Ji did darshan hoya, that doesn't mean Akal Purakh Ji came in some form and they gave darshan. That is one interpretation you could say, that Guru Maharaj did darshan. That is also a form of, there's also darshan of Akal Purakh Ji in Sargun Saroop. But when I say darshan in this sense, that is of their true form, which is Atma, which is Nirgun Nirakar. When I say this, Nirgun Nirakar Paramatma, that darshan. Darshan means seeing. And when Gurbani says seeing, it's saying understanding. When you attain this knowledge of Silya Akal Purakh Ji, then, so that should be a goal, to attain, this unity with Silya Akal Purakh Ji, and to attain Brahm Gyan. And Gurbani tells us as well, that, you could even say in this sense, this is why Gurbani, again, I'm going to come back to the pleasure thing as well, that Atmaras. Gurbani puts it as Atmaras. Atmaras meaning the kind of like taste of the Atma, not like kinna loon paya meri sabji vich, not how much namak there is, not how much salt there is within my food. It's more of tasting that Brahmanand, experiencing that Brahmanand. And this is why I'd like to also point out that the reason why Sikhi is true to me is that Sikhi offers something which is not offered in any other religion. You can see Abrahamic religions. All of the whole philosophy is based upon one thing, that is afterlife. But Sikhi is the opposite. Sikhi is based on experiencing it right now, experiencing it while you're alive, experiencing Jivan Mukti. Unlike other faiths, Gurbani, what does it do for us? Gurbani and Guru Maharaj, Gurmat gives us a way how we don't just stay servants of Guru Maharaj Ji. Even after Mukti, we do see ourselves as servants because it becomes our Swabhav, meaning it becomes our nature. To do bhakti, we keep on doing bhakti of Guru Maharaj. But after Mukti, we attain this unity with Guru Maharaj. We don't have to do anything. We become all the bonds of this world, all the boundaries, bandhan. Sare bandhan tut jande hai. And this is what is called Mukti. And then again, Papun. I'm going to come back to Karam. As I said before about the Maldok, the Mal impurity. The impurity of all this Pap accumulated in all our previous Janams. I'm going to come back to that point, which is that Karam, that okay, after we attain Mukti, what happens is that all our Karam nash ho jande hai. All our Karam nash ho jande hai. Because there's 3 types of Karam as well I'd like to go over, because this is a Sikh philosophy talk, I'd like to mention the 3 types of Karam as well. There's Pralabdha Karam, there is Sanchita Karam, and there is Kriyaman Karam. Kriyaman is the Karam that you are doing right now, then after that you have the Prarabdha Karam, which is the Karam which is like a small part of the Sanchita Karam. Sanchita Karam means all the accumulated Karams that you've done in all your past lives. That is that Karam, And then Prarabdha Karam is just like a small portion of that, separated. And that Prarabdha Karam, that affects you within this life. So there's a myth that what we do right now affects us in this life. No, it affects us in our in our next lives as well. And what we do now gives birth to new lives, new bodies that we obtain, that we take form in after this life. But then what happens is there's Mukti. What does Mukti do? Mukti frees us from this bandhan of paap, pun, karm. Hanji. It frees us from this. Because paap, pun, do ek saman in one sense. Because even if you do paap karam, even if you do pun karam, you face the outcome of it. Hanji. You have to enjoy the outcome of it, and that means you have to attain new bodies. You have to live in new bodies, which comes by taking rebirth. But what mukti does is, mukti frees us from this. Mukti destroys all our sanchit karam. And then we attain the state of jo nar dukh mein dukh nahi manna. A nar, a person or man who, even in the time of dukh, even in the time of pain, where his body is experiencing pain, he will not accept it. He will not feel that pain because he's become above the beyond body. He's become above all the three bodies. He's become all above the panjakosh and the five sheaths. He's become beyond that. He's become beyond these three bodies, and this is why we see like these images and all of this kind of stuff of our itihas of Bhai Mani Singh Ji getting chopped up into little pieces. You have Singhs getting boiled, all this kind of stuff. But they didn't even flinch. The reason being is they've gone beyond pain and pleasure. They've attained the supreme bliss, which is ever ending. And for there to be dukh, that means that supreme bliss has to go. No, that is the permanent, never ending bliss that they experience, Hanji. And they get in this state where jonar dukh mein dukh nahi manne, like a rock which is not affected by cold or hot weather. So in the same sense, a Brahmagyani does not feel any pain. He doesn't let himself feel any pain, and neither can he feel any pain. He becomes above pain, Hanji. So that is what a Brahmagyani, Hanji, experiences. And I'd like to give another example, which is like a lotus. With a lotus, what happens is that, like a lotus, water does not stick to it. Water doesn't stick to a lotus leaf. A lotus are usually found inside of muddy water places. There's places of water. That's where they usually grow. And the thing is, the surprising thing is that water never sticks to the leaves of a lotus. In the same sense, a Brahmagyani, he paap pun, no karma stick to him. The same sense. So he's not taking the body as himself. Because how does karma work? Again, how does karma work? Karma is when we see ourselves as our body, where we have this ahangpav, this home, that causes us to accumulate karma. Because karma can only be done with ahangpav, with the I-ness, with ego. And this ahangpav is the same thing which stops us from experiencing a Kalpurak everywhere, seeing a Kalpurak everywhere, which is our goal, And this ahangpav, and Guru Maharaj tells us again that the path is tuhi, removing yourself, doing bhakti, becoming nishkam, forgetting yourself, and doing tuhi, seeing a Kalpurak everywhere. Wherever you see, you see a Kalpurak everywhere. And it's not like me saying that a Kalpurak is everywhere. It's not like saying a Kalpurak is everywhere. You are experiencing a Kalpurak everywhere. It's not the matter of saying. It's a matter of experiencing, comprehension, and saying. Because there's a difference between saying and comprehension. So that's one thing as well, seeing a Kalpurak everywhere, Hanji. Because the reason, again coming back to Karam, Hanji, the reason why we do Karam, or what karam is accumulated with ahangpav, with ego, with I-ness. For example, you go to someone's house, and you ask that person, Handy, oh, is this keda karya? Oh, mera karya, Handy. It's I made this house, mera karya. It's my house, all this kind of stuff. It's the I-ness, it's the ego which makes us accumulate karma. And when we have this I-ness, when we have this individuality, what happens is that whatever we get this desire to whatever we do, we want the outcome of that. We want the outcome of those actions that we've committed. And this is why we face the fal, the pog of these karma. So that's one thing I'd like to mention as well regarding Brahmagyan and Karam. Anji. So again, coming back to Mukti, what is man? Our goal is mukti, and mukti itself is when we become free from all karam, all this kind of stuff. So, Hadi, and then it's becoming free from all this. And yes, and then coming back to the universe, I've talked about this before as well. You know, when we see the man as the body, then we can call it the universe as well. And the universe is is mithya. It's illusionary. This body is mithya. And mithya tana sacho karmanyo eh bid aap bandhava. Gurbani itself tells us that by seeing ourselves as a body, we get in this bandhan. We get into this abundance of karam, of pap and pun, of enjoying these, and so much more. And you get so much bandhan due to this small thing, which is caused due to agianta, due to ignorance, due to maya, you could say. And this causes us to see the world in this way and see the world as being such. In reality, this world is mithya. So that's why mithya tan katom. So Gurbani tells us, when we do this, we get in the bondage of tan, of this wealth. Even this wealth is illusionary. Even this family is illusionary. Hanji. So don't have more. So that's one thing I like to talk about again, because I've talked about this before as well. Kaam, krodh, lobh, moh, abhiman na tam hai sukh nahi paiya. You know, with this moh, with this attachment, with the world, we will not attain that sukh. Sukh nahi paiya. Hanji. Gurbani itself is telling us, Akal Purkh themselves telling us in the form of Guru Maharaj, Aap Narayan Kalatar Jag Meh Parvari. Akal Purkh themselves, Hanji, are in the form of Guru Maharaj. There's 6 types of avatar, Hanji, and within those six types of avatars, or 6 or 5, Hanji, the greatest is Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj is Purnatama avatar. Hanji, if you look at Ramji, Hani Ramji had Ramji Krishna ji had 14, 16 kara sampurna siyo kende hunde ya. That they had 14, 16 powers. Hanji Shaktiyan. Hanji Kanava, Gun, Hanji, qualities. But in reality, who's even greater than them is Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. Is Guru Maharaj, who is Anant Kala Wale, who have limitless powers, limitless gun, limitless qualities. So, that's what we say, Gur Jaisa Nahi Ko Dev. Hanji, that's no one is like Guru Maharaj. You know? And Guru Maharaj is Daya is a and so, I would like to quote something from the Tulsi Ramayana, which is Daya Sindhu Nar Roop Har. Daya Sindhu, meaning Sindhu means like a river. That's why we have the Indus. That's why we call it Indians, because we come from the Indus River. Sindhu, then you have which was a river. Sindhu means river, and then from that river it came India, Handi Indu. Then it came, Indian. So Sindhu means river. Daya Sindhu Nararup. Daya Sindhu means the ocean of compassion, mercy. Then you might be thinking, because everyone out here is looking for themselves. Everyone's trying to find bliss. Everyone's here for themselves, because every single person, I've said before as well, that they're looking for a Kalpurji, which is Paramanand. Which they're looking for Mukti, which is Paramanand, but they're looking at the wrong way. So in reality, everyone is out here for themselves. But the Guru is not. The Guru, what is the Guru? The Guru is Daya Sindhu. He is, without any reason. There's no reasoning behind this. The Guru himself is Daya Sindhu. He's compassionate. He's merciful. He does kirpa. Without any. He has no desire. He has no reasoning behind this. It's his swabhav. It's his nature that he's inherently, attained. And this is the swabhav, the nature of Guru Maharaj. And so again, that comes there. But yes, I'd like to answer a few questions here that we've gotten down here. And the first question is, okay, I think we've done that. I think I'll maybe come more back to the questions a little bit more later on. So again, I've talked about Mukti many times, and then Brahmgyani as well. So then another thing I would like to talk about is man and God. So how does there become a unity between man and God? Because in other faiths you don't see this unity with man and God, but Gurbani does. Gurbani talks about this unity with God, and again, I've talked about this before as well. You have to lose your I-ness. I've talked about mithya tan sacho karmanyo. Bid means in this way. Mithya means illusionary. Tan means body. Sacho karman. So sacho karmanyo meaning you've seen it as true. You've seen it as true. You've seen this illusionary body as true. And the thing is, bid aap banda hai. Vidhi, we say vidhi. Vidhi is a Hindi. That in this way, in this technique, in this method, what have you done? ਇਹ ਬਿਦ ਆਪ ਬੰਦਾਵਾ ਹੈ. You've put yourself in bondage. And so what happens is, how do we get loose of this? It's not like, oh, you forget yourself. No. How do you forget yourself? And this is by practicing the method of tu hi. Keep doing bhakti of Akal Purakh and then trying to see Akal Purakh everywhere. Becoming like a lover, where you see Akal Purakh everywhere. There's a very beautiful quote by Bulle Shah, which is, Ranja Ranja Kardini mein, ape Ranja hui. That saying Ranja Ranja, Hanji, just singing Ranja Ranja, thinking about Ranja, I myself became Ranja. You get me? That's the state of prem. That is the supreme prem that you could have. Forgetting yourself, and then what happens is you yourself become one with the Akal Purakh. You yourself become Akal Purakh in the sense that you become one with the Akal Purakh. This is the beauty of Sikhi, Hanji, that forgetting yourself and then becoming one with the Akal Purakh, attain this supreme bliss. Because if you think about it, this I-ness is the cause of all suffering. Because this I-ness makes us feel anxiety. This I-ness, for example, if someone says anything rude to us, we take it personally. So this is the root of this is I-ness, which is called this I-ness is itself caused by Agian, ignorance, Maya. It's caused by, even when we talk about Maya has two Shaktiyan, two powers, Vikshep and Avaran Shakti. Vikshep is is the thing which projects this whole world, this mithya world, Hanji. And then you have Avaran, which is which veils the Atma, which veils the Akal Purakh. So we have to remove. So what happens is we have to destroy this veil of darkness, this veil of Agianta, Maya, and experience the Akal Purakh ji. So you have to put some effort in as well. Hanji, it's not like, oh, appe Guru Maharaj di kirpa na hunda hai. Guru Maharaj gives us, Maharaj does kirpa that we do this. So whatever we do, it can never be successful without Guru Maharaj's kirpa. So all of us, should sit down and think, that what is my true goal, because again, what am I, what am I can also be rephrased into what is my purpose, and your purpose itself is to remove the I. That's the funny thing, your purpose itself is to remove the I and to attain this oneness with Sri Akal Purakh Ji, to attain this ekta, to attain this unification with Guru Maharaj, to realize Guru Maharaj. It's like the wave blending in with the ocean. When it blends in, it realizes, I am now one with the ocean. Even though it was one, it realizes, and then it attains the supreme bliss. So it's all the matter of realization. And the more we read Gurbani, the more we become closer. And then it's not just reading. Again, I'm going to put emphasis on vichar. I said before as well, doing vichar on Gurbani is very important. Because, when I say vichar, I don't just mean just thinking about it, I mean sitting down and actually implementing it into your life. Vidya vicharite pariyapakari, by doing vichar on Vidya, by doing vichar on Gurbani and Vidya, what happens is that we become pariyapakaris. We become people which are pariyapakaris, meaning that benefactor the whole world, whole world. They help everyone, And what does that mean? Aap mukta kara sansar, that you become a Brahmagyani. And there's been many Brahmagyanis which have helped, Hanji, so many people, in attaining mukti. For example, we have like Sant Ishwar Singh Ji, Hanji, they brought so many people towards Gurbani, and even they became mukt. So it's like a boatman. Guru Maharaj Ji is a boatman, and his sadhu sants as well, Kyonki na, what happens is that Guru Maharaj is given this think to us that, you know, that Guru Maharaj Ji themselves, ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਉਹ ਆਪ ਸਾਨੂੰ, ਹਾਂ, ਉਹ ਆਪ ਮੁਕਤ ਆ ਤੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਹੋਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਮੁਕਤ ਕਰਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ, and then those people that have attained mukti, ਉਹ ਹੋਰ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੁਕਤ ਕਰਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ. Think about that. And they do that without any reasoning. They do that just out of prem. There's no reasoning before that, for that, Hanji. But yeah, I think that was good explaining. But yes, again, Hanji. So that was good explaining. But yes. So again, I talked about, seeing a comic book everywhere, and then, some people do want pramans. People do want some mentions from Gurbani, and I'd like to give some. For example, Gurbani tells us the state of a Brahmgyani. What happens after Mukti? As I before said 2 minutes. As I before said, that the state of Mukti is when you see a Kalpuruk everywhere. You see your premi, you see your lover everywhere. So here, Gurbani tells us that Sab Par Brahm Nadri Aya. Hanji. For a Brahmgyani, Sab Par Brahm. Akal Purakh Ji. Par Brahm is the name for Akal Purakh. Nadri Aya. Nadri means, whatever we are seeing, Hanji, it's all Akal Purakh Ji. It comes to, we come to see everything as Akal Purakh Ji. And then, what happens is, Sab Atam Ram Pachhanaya. What happens is, we start seeing Akal Purakh everywhere. We start seeing everything as Akal Purakh. We start seeing Sab Atam Ram. Atam Ram, again, I'm going to say Atam Ram. Ram hai Atam. Atam is the true self, Handy. You start seeing the true self and Akal Purakh, true self or Akal Purakh everywhere, Handy. You start seeing everything as you realize. Not see, but you start realizing, see/realize Akal Purakh everywhere, Handy. And then, so then, then Akal, another thing as well, usually we have lots of rag dvash, we have lots of, this attachment, and we have lots of hate towards other people, enmity. But with the Brahmagyani is that, a Brahmagyani sada samadarsi. A Brahmagyani sees everyone is ek saman. He sees them equally. He doesn't see pedbhav nahi rakhda. Brahmagyani. He sees iron and gold equally. He doesn't do any difference. And a Brahmagyani is a person who sees upadhi rahat paramatma. The bondage rahat, the without bondage Akal Purakh in every single person's heart. That's what Gurbani tells us. Sab meh ek niranjan soi. Hanji. And this state itself is called Tat Gyan da Darshan. Itself is called the realization of Akal Purakh. The realization of Tat, the understanding of Tat. Tat means the truth. You could say in one sentence, the truth, and that is Tat. It's the realization of the Tat. It's called Tatyana Darshan. And then what happens is, in this state, what happens is Soham Aap Pachaniya. We attain Soham Aap Pachaniya. You yourself become one with the Akal Purakh, and what happens is there becomes no difference between you. So you become Soham. That Akal Purakh has now become in your mind. What happens is that you attain this realization that me and Akal Purakh are one, Hanji, and just the realization, which comes from Guru's Kirpa. And one thing I'd like to give a difference between worldly Vidya, not worldly Vidya, but like Granths. We read Granths, we read Gurbani, all this kind of stuff, all these Granths. But the thing is, the only difference between Brahmagyan and these Granths is that Brahmagyan comes with Kirpa, it's actual comprehension or experience of this. But while Katabi Gyan is just listening, looking, reading, it's not actual experience of it. That's why Sikhi is all based upon experience. Someone like I've seen arguments, between Muslims and atheists and everything, and they say that, oh, find me a verse like the Quran, find me this poetry, this and that. But Gurbani is something which is purely based upon experience. Gurbani doesn't say, oh, afterlife you will attain this heaven. No, Gurbani says you attain it right now. If you follow these steps, you attain it right now. You attain it in this life. You don't have to do anything. You just have to, follow these steps, and you will attain mukti. Keep, and this is why Sikhi to me personally is the greatest, and it's the ultimate truth. Because I can tell personally that there's people in the world who have attained this experience with the Surya Akal Purakh Ji through Sikhi. So how can there be any better proof of this than Brahmagyanis who've attained Paramatma, who've attained this supreme bliss, who've attained Akal Purakh, who've attained this oneness with the Sri Akal Purakh Ji. And that's one thing I'd like to see, like to say, Handy. And then Handy. So I think that was enough talking, Handy. I think now we can start going into some questions, Handy. Just 2 moments. Let me just drink some water, Handy. I've been a lot of talking. But yeah, I'll just get into some questions. Handy. Handy. So we've got some questions. I think I'm going to go to the question box. Handy. Handy. एक मिनट जी. एक मिनट. Handy. I'm just looking at. Handy. Handy. So the first question we have here, okay, is the next question is how much do you read a day, and how did you develop your reading resume? Okay, so this is a very easy question. But how do I read every single day? It's basically you have a book, you pick it up, and you just try for like you know so you have a book there, you just pick it up, put your you know what you should do, yeah, get your phone, and just give it to someone, and just tell them to hide it somewhere, you just can't find it, and then when you need it, afterwards, and say I'm gonna read, yeah. If I don't read, then you're not giving me back my phone, yeah. So what you need to do is that could be another thing that you could try, because our phones, take up a lot of our time. Baba Gyani Kulwant Singh ji of Vaheguru Sahib ji, they actually said they are the Jahidar, and they actually said to one of the Singhs that the time that we spend on our phones, if we spent it upon doing vichar and doing bhakti of Guru Maharaj of Akal Purakh ji, then we would attain Brahmagyan in 12 years. Think about that. All this time we're spending on our phone, Hanji. We could experience Brahmagyan, Hanji, but we're spending half of our lives on our phones, Hanji. Not even half. You know, we half our lives on our phones, like usually people spend like 12 30 12 12 14 hours every single day on their phones, Andy. So you could be, if you spent that time on Silyakal Prakti, you would attain Brahmagyan. With all that focus, you would have attained Brahmagyan. But it's the only thing stopping you is you, Andy. You're not willing to do it, and when you start doing it, then you attain the fall of that as well. But anyways, let's get into some questions. So I've already answered that question. Sorry. How much do you read a day? So I'm gonna come to how much do I read a day. I try to read half a book every single day. Um, but yes. Anyways, the next is Panjakosh, another way of saying Panjtat. So, this is wrong, Handy. The Panchakosh, sorry, Abhi asked the question, sorry. The Panchatat and Panchakosh are two different things. Panchakosh are 5 sheets, which cover this, our, what do you call it, Atma, Handy, or Vaheguru in one sense. So, these are totally different things. Panchtat are, so Panchakosh. You have 5 kosh: Annamayi kosh, Pranamayi kosh, Manomay kosh, and Vijnanamayi kosh, and Anandamayi kosh. These are the 5 kosh, the 5 kosh sheaths, which cover the Atma. So we have to go above them, above these veils, and then we have to see a Galpuk. Then we see a Galpuk. Then we attain darshan of Galpuk. Then we attain Tat Gyan da darshan. Hanji. So going above that, Panj. So then you said Panj Tat, but the Panj Kosh do come within the 3 Srid, the 3 bodies, the 10 Srid, which is the Suksham, Sthul, and what do you call it? Suksham, Sthul, and Karan Srid. The three Sris, Hanji. So then you have, I like to use a verse from Sri Vachachandrodya. पंचकोश पंचकोशातीत मैं हूँ आन अन्न प्राण मनोमय विज्ञान आनंदमय पंचकोश नातमा स्थूल देह अन्नमय कोश लिंग देह प्रमा. So you could read Vichar Chandrodaya if you want some more questions to be answered relating that. I have a tika which I have sent to by Kamalpreet Singh Pradesi, and I think they will be putting on Gurmat Vichar very soon. So you could be looking on that as well. I'll send a PDF. I maybe have sent a PDF on here, but you could look at that as well. It does mention the five kosh in full detail. It mentions so much stuff, all the different parts, elements of the stool there, suksham there, and the stool there. So that's one thing as well. And then the Panchakosh come into the three, Hanji, bodies, as I said before. So yeah, that's one thing. And then Panchatat are the elements which create the body. And the Pancha Mahaput that's another word, used, another phrase used. Okay, so when you talked about desire, can you ask for something that helps you do seva? If the seva is in a worldly form, when you talk, can you ask for something that helps you do seva? If you really understand, what do you need to do seva? Maharaji themselves given you this manuk sarir, this human body. What more do you need to do seva, ji? Okay, let me see my Hanji. Hanji. So what more do you need to do seva? Hanji. Pai prapata manuk dehuriya, So Govind Milan ki teri badiya. Hanji. So you've already gotten this human body. What more do you need? That's enough to fulfill out seva. Hanji. Um, but yes, seva. If the seva is in a worldly form, the seva is of Guru Maharaj. Hanji. I don't understand what do you mean by worldly form, because seva um, seva is of Guru Maharaj. Hanji. So I think there was a shabd as well. Seva, Guru Seva. Yeah, so doing seva of Guru Maharaj, Hanji, and everything. I don't understand what you mean by worldly form, Hanji. But if Abdi could, give a little bit more clarification, I could try and answer the question again. But 5, what are the steps to becoming without desire when doing bhakti? Without desire when doing bhakti. The steps, okay. When doing bhakti, I would say bhakti itself is a step. It's a thing which so because bhakti, try and clean the name. Okay, so when I say bhakti, okay, what are the steps becoming without? What are the steps to becoming without desire when doing bhakti? Nishkam bhakti meaning you don't do bhakti for any desire. That's what I see. That's what I said. You don't do bhakti for any desire. What you do is you try and then also to remove desire, you try and see a Kalpak everywhere. Try forgetting yourself. Become like how a lover sees how a lover sees his lover. You know, everywhere in a very his eyes are filled with so much prem. But then I'd like to give an example of Hira and Ranja. And one thing I like to say is once that once she was actually going and she was going into the forest looking for Ranja, and then while going out, while going out, what happened was that there was a Kaji, a Maulavi, a Muslim priest, and he was sitting down with the Quran, and she stepped on the Quran. Her foot touched the Quran by mistake. She didn't even realize. And the Maulvi noticed, his dhyan was not on Sri Akal Purakh ji. His dhyan was only uh, on worldly things. And what happened was that when he came back, you know, after going looking for Ranja in the forest, she came back, and what happened was that the Maulvi asked her, "Tenu pata nahi lag gaya कि तू कुरान शरीफ उते तू अपना पैर ला लिया and then meaning that didn't you realize that you have just put your foot on the Quran Sharif while going to the forest? She said no. She said my whole focus was on Ranja, you know. And they said if you really had any prem for God, for Akal Purakh, you would have not focused on that. You would have not focused upon my foot touching the Quran. You'd be in so much intoxication with praying for Akal Purakh. So we could use the same example and say that try and get this prem, handi, try doing by doing tuhi, handi, by this path of tuhi, by doing bhakti. Bhakti means like forgetting yourself. Handi. Again, you can't do bhakti when you actually have this sense of I-ness. Handi. So then another thing I like to say is, how do you remove home? Home again. Home is I-ness again, which stops us, from becoming desireless as well. And this is removed by accepting hukam. You know, accepting hukam. Seeing yourself as das of a Kalpurak, and whatever happens, seeing everything as a Kalpurak's kid and you hukam. If something happens to you, take that as hukam. You know, take it with a pinch of salt, handy, and just try and see Kalpurak everywhere. Okay. Okay, 5. What are the steps? Okay, so I think I've answered that question. So 6. Is there difference between Cheta and Chetan? Um, Look, Cheta can also mean the heart, the mind. Handi. So Chit and Chetan is not really different. Handi. Chit, is also another word. Chetan is another word used for consciousness or Gyan Swarup. When I say consciousness, people just take it in the wrong way. But when I say consciousness, it means Gyan Swarup. Chetan means Gyan Swarup, who is Gyan Swarup. Handi. Knowledge itself. Then you have how to develop prem. Handi. So prem is that, how do we develop prem? Very good question. Handi. So we attain prem by realizing that, all we are seeing is mithya. It is all illusionary. And, that, you know, think about it, that all you are seeing is illusionary. And, all these people around you, they are not going to be here with you, antakal, in your antakal, in the time of your death, they're not going to be here. They're not going to save you. No one can save you then. It's, realizing that will make you want to go and actually do prema bhakti. I'm going to give you an example of Valmiki. Valmiki was a great poet and a great Bhagavad Purakji. And they wrote the Valmiki Ramayana. You might know about that. And Handy, you've got a message. Okay, anyways, Andy. Then coming back, thanks for the Handy Domarji. But yeah, so how to develop Prem again. Valmiki ji, what happened with them was that Valmiki ji, that, they were a chore. They were Brahman before, they were a Brahmin, but then they became a chore, they became a thug, a daku. What they used to do was that they would go out and steal people's stuff and everything, and then go home and feed their kids and everything. And what happened was that ek baar na ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸਪਤ ਰਿਸ਼ੀ ਮਿਲੇ. He met the 7 rishis, 7 sages, in Hinduism. And what happened was they asked him, to go back to your family and ask them, like, would you want to suffer the consequences of my wrongdoings? And they said, we just want to, we are just eating, that what you get us, we are just here to eat the food that you get us, and the stuff that you get us, we are not willing to go under the punishment, under the suffering that your karms are going to bring to you. We don't want that. And when he heard that, what happened was he attained this sense of, so much like vairag, and happened was that vairag, that made him, kind of, feel that, this is all mithya, this is all illusionary. These people are not out here for me. And then he started realizing that my goal should be to attain a Kalpurak, who's always out there for me, that, and even if you look at Sloka Mahalla Nova, I'm going to say one thing, read Sloka Mahalla Nova, and it really goes deep into prem. When you read it, you yourself will get a burst of prem within you. So, 8th, what should be our goal, whether to attain Mukti and Brahm Gyan or to completely serve Guru and Akal Purakh without even thinking about those about the first two things? Okay, whether to attain mukti and Brahma Gyan or to completely serve Guru and Akal Purakh without even thinking. I'm going to say one thing, yeah? By serving the Guru Maharaj, we attain mukti. I've said it before as well that, I'm going to use the notes. Yeah, I'm going to use the same pankti again that I used before. If we even look at this first pankti, we've got the pankti here. Guru Prasad Mitaya Andhyara Kata Chanan Apachania. How does it happen? With Guru Prasad. By the Kripa of Guru. How do we attain this Kripa of the Guru? By doing Seva Guru. Seva kar to hai, nehkami. By doing Seva, we attain the state of nehkamata, nishkamata, of without desire, desirelessness. And I'm gonna say, if you can, you could even cultivate this as well. Like, I don't want even mukti. All I want is to have my, to be just soaked in prem for the charan of Guru Maharaj and Akal Purakh. You could even say it in that kind of sense. That's a very high level of nishkamta. But one thing I'm gonna say is, serving the Guru. Even to attain mukti. Whether to attain mukti, Brahmagyan, or to completely serve the Guru. Completely serving the Guru. Is can be done for mukti as well. Because I think I did something from Vichar Sagar previously as well. How by doing seva of the Guru, what happens is a jigyasu, a person who wants Vaheguru, who wants to attain mukti, he should serve the Guru, and when the Guru is pleased by the seva, what happens is the Guru bestows upon him Brahm Gyan. तब जाना है निज पेद, हाँ जी. Then he realizes निज पेद, हाँ जी. Then he realizes his true self. And Niji means apna. Apna, but here I'm gonna twist it a little bit. I'm gonna say Akal Purakh. The reason why, because when we say apna, it bursts sometimes our ego. It bursts our I-ness. So we need to forget ourselves. And that's our goal. So seva kart hoye nehkami. Gurbani itself tells us by doing seva we become nehkam, become without desire. So that is the path. And that also answers our previous question, how to a previous question, which is the fourth question, which is about desire. Can you ask some, Handi? Next question we have here is how to deal with mixed feelings when you no longer see any meaning in all these worldly attachments, but you don't want to hurt anyone by pushing them away. How do you deal with mixed feelings when you don't see any meaning? So the thing is, this is where we have to keep a balance. Gurbani Gurumat is not a path where you have to sacrifice everything to go and attain mukti. That is not the path. Look at Raja Janak. If you look at the Mahabharata in the Shanti Parv, Adhyay 9, I think it was, I can't remember, it was, just 2 minutes, Ji. Yes, in the Mahabharata as well. I forgot the name of the king, but he himself wanted to become a sannyasi, but then Arjun and some more, kings and Kshatriya, they told him no, even Raja Janak, even he attained mukti, and he was a Raja. So the thing is keeping a balance. It's not, there's no meaning. There's two things. There are two states of reality, two levels of reality. One is called Vyavaharik, the one that we see right now. I'm in duality with you. Yeah, I'm here, you are there. From a paramarthik, from the supreme absolute point, there is no me and you. There's only Vaheguru. So, thing is, you have to balance it out. Meaning of life. I'm not saying go leave your house. Make your man take sannyas. Give sannyas to your man. Lose your calm, krodh, lobh, moh. You don't want to lose your home. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Pagal kam hai, don't do that. Singo, idda nahi karna si. We want to. What do we want to do? We want to remove our काम करो लोभ मोह. हाँ जी. You want to take sannyas of the man. अपने मन नु sannyas खिलाना है. हाँ जी. To make your man remove everything. Attachment. I'm not saying remove all these worldly material things from your life. No, don't do that. I'm saying the attachment to them. That's the thing that we have to remove. For example, Raja Janakaji. Raja Janakaji, they were a Brahmagyani. And a Raja, people usually see that as two different things. But no. a Brahmgyani and a Raja. You can be a Brahmgyani and a Raja who's filled with wealth. You know, look at Guru Mai themselves. They themselves were Raja Maharaja. Handy, you know, who can be a greater king than Guru Maharaj? Handy, and they themselves, had so much, and even then, they had no attachment to it. So it's all about attachment. It's not about leaving everything. You can even attain Ekant within your home. You don't have to go outside in the forests for hundreds of years doing bhakti. No, you can find it in your home. Just make a safe spot in your home where it's shanti and where there's not too much, um, uh, there's not too much distractions. No, not too many distractions. But yeah, the next question we have is where do you get your vidya? Can you recommend some books and sources? Okay, that is a great question. First thing I'm going to say is sources. For sources, books and sources. To find books, you can go on Gurmat Vichar. But one thing I do want to say is that read the Jivaniya of Mahapurush, of beings who've attained Akal Purukh themselves, who themselves have become one with the Akal Purukh. Like Sant Ishir Singh Ji's Jivani, you have Sri Narayan Hari Upadesh. It's a very beautiful granth, but I'm not going to recommend it to everyone, you know. But I'm going to say Gurumukh Prakash Jivani of Hanji, Sant Sundar Singh Ji, Hanji, their Jivani. So, look at these types of Jivaniya, look at these lives of these Mahapurukh. When I say Vidya, there's many TK online. Many TK meaning commentaries. For example, you have like on Gurbani, you have the Farid Tika, you have the Amir Pandar, you have the Darshan Nirnay. So you have so many TK online which you could just go with a click of a button and you can download them, you can read them. And for philosophy, I personally, I'm gonna say if you do want to read like other and also like you have many other TK as well. For example, you could read works of Sri Swami Gangeshwarananda Giri. Okay, he might sound like a Hindu person, but he was a great scholar of Gurbani, and he wrote many books, commentaries of Hindu texts based upon Gurbani, and actually in the compilation of this exact talk, he was the main source I used a lot, to kind of quote, so he's a great person who quotes Gurbani a lot, and I really like their works. Swami Gangeshwarananda Giri. Okay. And then you have more books as well. I'm gonna recommend Gyani Mal Singh Ji's, Gyani Mani Singh Ji's, Trans DK as well, and everything. You have so many more granths which you could read. But also one granth I really like is Prem Bhakt Prabalagi by Sanjay Jagdeep Singh Ji Harkowal Wale. It's a very beautiful granth, going over all these small simple they give a very really simple answer to all these questions. Like for example, they go over Purn Mahapurush Adi Pachan, how to, recognize true Purn Mahapurush, true and great saints, Seva, Hukam, then Mahapurush Adi Sangat Naam, and, Rees, Langar Di Seva, Yog Sadhana, and Sikhi, Maut, Toba, Banda, all these questions, they talk about this as well. ये सब एको रूप ਹਨ ਮਾਇਆ ਕੀਆ ਮਾਸ ਸ਼ਰਾਬ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਪਾਠਾਂ ਦੇ ਫਲ ਫੁਰਨੇ ਨੀਂਦ ਮੰਗਣਾ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਨਿੰਦਿਆ all this kind of stuff ਰੱਬ ਕਿਸ ਦਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਰੱਬ ਕਿਸ ਦਾ ਬਣਦਾ ਹੈ ਦਸਵੇਂ so ਚਰਨ ਕਮਲ ਕੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ so you have so much within that granth as well. I really like that granth, so I recommend all to read it. And I will be making some PDFs of my granths that I have at home which are not online, but yeah. Next question we have is okay D. I understand that D. Yeah, comment. Hanji. So okay. Intrusive. How to get rid of intrusive thoughts? I think Hanji. Tigari. Let's answer this question. So you're saying distractions I'd say, unwanted or like a distracting kind of thoughts. Again, I've talked about this previously in my talk as well, which is Vikshep Dok. How does that go? The mind wavering. How does that go? That is done by doing one thing, and that is bhakti. By doing bhakti, we remove that dok, we remove that that mind wavering that stops us from doing dhyan of Vaheguru. Just keep on practicing tuhi tuhi. Keep on just focusing on Akal Purakh like heed did for Anja, how he was intoxicated with love for Anja, that was her only goal, you know, in the same sense. That's what we Sikhs need to do. And then I'm not questioning Vaheguru's decision, but I want to know if there is an answer in Gurbani about why did Vaheguru not make us perfect? Like, why is there hatred, calm, Maya in the world? Why did Vaheguru include that in the world? I just want to know if there is an answer to my question in Gurbani. Okay, that's a very long question, but I'll try and answer it with my limited intellect. So your question is, why did Guru Maharaj not make us perfect? So the first thing I'm going to say is that there is something called Agianta, which came over, which is ignorance, which is the opposite of Gyan. Gyan, Gyan, Gyan. Means like the opposite of what? Gyan, of knowledge of a God. So the Agyanta makes us perceive this whole world, Handy, and then will make us perfect. So the thing is, it's the realization that not makes us perfect. Why is the hatred, calm, Maya in this world? Why did Vaheguru include that? Just want to know. So you're asking why did Guru might not make us perfect? Okay, G. So you know this whole in Maya in world. So you're mistaking. I've seen one thing that you've done, which is very wrong, which is mistaking the world for being true. You're saying that then calm, growth, love, more is all false things within the true world. When in reality, this world is false. Honey, this world is illusionary. So, not make it perfect. Perfect. When I say, perfectness, it's your fault. You can't blame a God for that. Because the thing is that it's a realization that so what is mukti again? I'm going to come back to mukti because I don't think you properly understood, Viji. What is mukti, or Panji? What is mukti? Mukti is where you one minute. Okay, Hanji. So mukti is a realization that you were perfect already. You're already one with the Kalpura. It's like the wave realizing that I was the ocean itself, Hanji. And this is done by bhakti. This is done by selfless devotion to a Kalpurak. Then, okay, why not make perfect? I think I've answered that. But this whole world is what do you call it? Not perfect. You are perfect, but the thing is, you have to realize, your true self. You have to remove that veil which is stopping you from realizing, Handy. So that's one thing. Hatred, calm, Maya in the world. Why did Vaheguru include that in the world? I just want to know. Okay, why did Vaheguru include that in the world? The world itself is illusionary. The world itself is Maya. You can't say that Maya is some wealth. People have a very bad idea of Maya. Maya is wealth. Maya. What does Maya mean? Does anyone know what Maya means? Maya. Maya jo hai nahi. That which doesn't exist. This world is something which doesn't exist. It's like a supana. Handy? To the world. I want to know if there is an answer to my question. Okay. What were all the avatars? Handy? I would like to so what were all the avatars? Okay. So there have been countless avatars of Akal Purakh ji. Hanji. And even Sant, even Mahapurkhs, they're also avatars of Akal Purakh. They're called Nit avatars. So I would have to answer this question that there are unlimited amount of avatars that Akal Purakh has taken. So again, we have a question here. How can we achieve Naam? How do we focus our mind in the path and in path and Simran? ठीक है जी ये भी प्रश्न का उत्तर देने हैं जी so the first okay so how can we achieve Naam so by Naam I think Abdi you're trying to say the state of it so what does Naam mean let's go on what Naam means Hanji so let's go on what Naam actually means according to Gurbani so what is another explanation of Naam Naam is where in Sanskrit you could give the arth Naamam Mama means my or me or I. Hanji, where there is na mama, where there is not me, where it's not this I-ness, where there is not this individuality, that is called na mama or naam, that we like to say. Gurbani gives us many ਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ examples in Gurbani where they talk about this. ਹਾਂਜੀ जब हम होते तब तुम नाही अब तुम हो हम नाही. I've given this example before. जब हम होते, when there is I, when there is मैं, जब हम ਹੁੰਦੇ हैं, जो ਅਸੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ हैं, and what happens is तब तुम नाही. ਹਾਂਜੀ then you are not there, meaning that then I cannot see you. But जब, then it says अब तुम हो हम नहीं. अब तुम हो, now you be here, now you stay here, है ना. Now you stay here, तू ही. हाँ जी, now मैं is gone, now अहम is gone, the I is gone, now there's only ਤੂੰ ਹੀ there's only ਤੁਮ. ਹਾਂਜੀ ਅਬ ਤੁਮ ਹੋ ਹਮ ਨਾ ਹੀ. ਹੁਣ ਹਮ ਨੂੰ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਰੱਖ ਦੇਣਾ ਆ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਮ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆ ਜਾਣਾ ਆ. we're gonna bring ਤੂੰ ਹੀ within us. And then so this is the whole idea. ਹਾਂਜੀ okay, the next thing that we get is here. How do we achieve, so how do we focus our mind in the path and simran. Simran is, okay, for example, you look at, for example, so I've talked about Simran before, Nam Abhyas, where you focus your mind off the prapanch, off the world, off the universe, off the worldly materialistic things, and focus it towards the Shuddh Chetan, the Shuddh, the pure Gyan Swaroop, Akal Purakh, the knowledge form Akal Purakh, Hanji, the Akal Purakh, which is not knowledge itself, which is itself existence, which is itself is bliss. Sat, which is Sat Guru Prasad, Hanji. Sat meaning, which is ever existence, which is Trekal Abad, which is above the three, which is above past, present, and future. That's why we say Ah the Satya, the God the Satya. So we talk about this. Akal Purakh is there before, he is now, and he's after as well. And then you have to do dhyan of that. And then Gur meaning Chetan, meaning Gyan Swaroop. Akal Purakh is Gyan Swaroop. Hanji. Then Prasad can also mean Anand, bliss. Akal Purakh is that. Then how do we focus our mind in Part and Simran? Okay. Part and Simran. How do we focus it? The thing is, at the start, it's gonna be Kaura. Hanji. Like for example, medicine. Medicine is usually very, very, disgusting. It's not really tasty. But then after you digest it, you get the rus out of it. So when you keep on doing that bhakti, you'll slowly feel that rus. Because I've told you before that, when your mind is impure, it's very hard, to experience that rus. So when we do this, then what happens is that our mind becomes able to do focus on Nama Abhyas and Simran. And also, you might be thinking, how do we do dhyan of this Jnana Swarup Akal Purakh? I've just mentioned three qualities here. Akal Purakh is existence, consciousness, and bliss. I've just mentioned three qualities right here. Handy. When you do Nama Abhyas, to Chetan, sorry, I'll say Cheta Karna, Hanji. So Cheta Karna, that's what Simran is, Hanji. Removing your mind off the world, focusing on Akal Purakh. And then the thing is, when you're doing Chetta of Akal Purakh, then you can try and remember him through these qualities of Akal Purakh, through these Guna of Akal Purakh. And also, at the start, try and even Guru Ki Murta Manamah Dhyan, Hanji. You want to do Dhyan of Guru Maharaj as well. Hanji, Dhyan of them as well. Their Sargun Swaroop, Hanji. So, from Sargun we go to Nirgun as well. That's another thing as well. So, we have to go from Sargun to Nirgun, Hanji. Because at the start, it's going to be very hard because our mind is very impure. So, do Dhyan of Guru Maharaj as well. And then that slowly progress to Nirgun Upasana. Okay, so we've gotten to that, we've answered that question. Question 3. As in a job, more money, more time it takes to enable me to do more seva. Another way is to say removing those obstacles which stop me from doing more seva. Okay, when you do Nishkam Upasana, when you desirelessly do Bhakti of Maharaj, again, when you do Bhakti with desire, that desire gets fulfilled. But when you do Bhakti without desire, everything gets sorted out. Not just one desire, everything itself gets sorted out. Because you're doing it with full prem. Hanji? Sab Sukhdata. Sorry, Hanji. So, all the sukh that we get, it's all Akal Purakh giving us sukh. Hanji. So, you have to understand that when you do Nishkam Upasana, when you do Bhakti of Akal Purakh without any desire, everything itself gets sorted out. Then, okay, the next question: what steps do we take to remove our ego? Or is it only removed through the grace of Vaheguru? So, so the opposite of Homme is Hukam. So accepting everything as Hukam. And ego is removed by seeing a Kalpurak everywhere, by trying to attain this avastha of tu hi. You know, again, Homme naave naal virodh hai, doye na bas hai, ek thaye. Handi. You know, so it's removing of duality, Handi. And Homme naave na, so and then jab hum hote tab tum nahi, handi ab tum ho hum nahi. So again, the same thing can be used here as well, that what we should try and do is that to remove our ego, practice this method of tu hi. And where do we get this? And then always this only removed through the grace of the guru, so of Vaheguru. So this is a good question, Handi. Removed through the grace of Vaheguru. So to start doing think about this, you're practicing this, Handi, with the kirpa of Maharaj. Handi, Maharaj ji aap thode to karwa rahe hai, in one sense. Take it in that sense. Maharaj ji ne bakshiya thanu, Handi, this path, Handi. So, and the grace, it's obviously happening with the grace of Vaheguru, Handi. So, only kripa dwara hi, you remove this ego, but this doesn't mean that you just sit down here as laying down in your couch, kuch nahi karna. Guru Maharaj gives you the kirpa, and when he lets kirpa, it doesn't mean instantly. It means that you start, taking steps towards this direction, Then, next thing, how should we balance our spiritual life and real life? What should we stay away from in real life? Real life, this is where I'm a little bit muddled up. I don't understand, what do you mean by real life and what is spiritual life? Because I don't really understand there. Are you talking about real life in the sense of karma, law, more? Are you talking about drugs and everything? What are you trying to mean worldly life? Again, that is worldly. Okay, worldly life. Okay, try to stay away from drugs. Try to stay away from mari sangat. Try stay away from all these, from bad people. Try stay away from people that are going to remove you off the path of gurmat. Try and listen to gurbani more. Try and listen to gurbani more. Try do more bhajan bandagi, hanji, and just try and stay in the sangat that you want to be like. Do that in real life. And also, and also one thing I'm going to say is, yeah, that in real life, for example, what you want to do is keep in a good sangat, you know, and keep good people around you, keep a good buddy as well, and how do we balance the spiritual life? Balancing, you said balance. The thing is that balancing spiritual life and worldly life, you can definitely do it. The thing is that I don't think having a spiritual life is stopping you from having a worldly life, because again, there's so many examples of Mahapurukhs which have been, working all their lives and still have attained Paramatma, you know. So many Bhagats themselves, worked, and they had Dukanna, they weren't sannyasis and everything, and so you can definitely balance. The thing is that you need that your main look, your main goal is that you want to attain mukti, but in real life is there because you have to eat, drink, you have to support your family. These are all things because you've got this body, and this body is intention to attain Vaheguru, because we can't attain Vaheguru without a body. You need, for example, to go to India. I need a method of transport, and this transport is the body, but with the body, with the car, you have to fill it up with gas as well, sometimes. So you have to get some food as well, everything. So I mean, you have to get some gas for the car as well. You even say in that kind of sense, so the body itself, because the body, because we've got this body, we get into this bandhan of family as well, so we have to so it becomes our dharam, it becomes our duty to um kind of support our family as well, to support ourselves as well, because without a stomach which has not eaten, without a stomach which has eaten some food which is, which is nutritious. You can't with a mind which is nutritious, which is, fully stable. Only then you can do bhakti. Without that, you cannot attain. You cannot do bhakti. Next is, how do you live with people that don't accept Sikhi? This is a very good question. How do you live with people that do not accept Sikhi? One moment, G. 2 minutes. Handy. So how do you accept? Okay. What should be? Okay, sorry. Okay, how do you live with people that don't accept? Okay, so with this, it's very simple. You know, don't bother about them. Don't think about them, Handy. If you can, bring them all closer to Sikhi. And try do their sangat. Try teaching them small little things, Handy. If you want to, Handy, and make them understand. You could try and teaching them. But even if they don't listen, like for example, I'm gonna say one thing, yeah. If someone, for example, even if sometimes parents, they stop us, from, doing Sikhi, practicing Sikhi, then what you have to do is then you have to say to yourself, Handy, that, the thing is, you got to kind of, you can't be under their control, Handy, if they're trying to stop you from, practicing Sikhi. And also try and teach them as well, more about Sikhi. Try and teach them and bring them more closer to the Guru. So that's one thing I'd like to mention. But I've also got another question. I think just Deep Singh sent to me here. If Abji could, Khatta ji, okay ji, Hanji. Next question we have, I'm just going to do. There's only two questions left, and then I can, just end this all. So how can I do bhakti? Very good question, Hanji. Um, doing not, there's bhakti nava prakara, Hanji. Gurbani itself tells us there's 9 types of bhakti, Hanji, and I will be listing them down below afterwards because I know it's very, time is very low, so I will list them down in the question, in the text voice afterwards. Then how can I reach mukti? I think the talk has explained pretty well how you can reach mukti. If you want me to put it in simple terms, do your bhakti, do vicharam gurbani, read gurbani, implement gurbani in your life, and try and seek the grace of the guru. Do seva, become nehkam, remove your home. That's what I'm gonna say. So I think that does wrap up the whole session today for this whole talk for. I think it's been some time. It's been 20, Handy. It's been 2 hours, Handy, since everything started. Got one more question. Okay, after this, I'm just gonna we can do some Mukti, please. Hannah. So, what do I do if my parents want me to focus more on school than Sikhi? Sometimes, if I get told to do homework, then part later. What do I do? So, I'm going to say one thing that you could definitely make time for homework and part. Hanji. School, homework, Look, I think the main thing stopping us nowadays is our phones, is our social media gadgets. What you need to do is, you need to stop, you need to minimize the usage of them. You need to do your homework, do your padai, Hanji. And this is what my Vidya Guru themselves told me, that, focus on 2 things. Adhyatmik Vidya and your school Vidya. Honey, don't focus on any other thing. Yeah, don't focus on your phone. मैं कहना वो गल करनी हो message करना उन्हें वही. Right? What you want to do is you want to go and you actually want to spend time, because you have 24 hours in a day. Yeah, half of a day you spend on your phone. Yeah, so there's enough time for you to do your homework and Sikhi. There's enough time to do revision and Sikhi. So again, I think the main thing stopping you is your phone. It's Discord maybe, but not Discord, not Sikh Discord. Yeah, other servers, but Sikh Discord. We need to go on Sikh Discord, Handy. It answers many questions. But yeah, so again, what you want to do is make time, put your phone usage minimize. Yeah, so I think that answers the questions. Let's do Samapti and just do Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Handy. Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।